Okay, let somebody else in. Um, Trying to share my PowerPoint with you so that we can review this real quick. Okay. We're not missing too many people, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. That over there. All right, so I'm not going to talk long. I do want to just briefly go through what you should be noticing. All right, so I asked you to write down the function of the organelles as you went through the Cells Alive presentation. And what this slide is showing you is a comparison between plant and animal cells. You will get pictures of cells and you will be expected to know what the part, not only to recognize the structure, the main structures, but you'll be expected to know what they do. Let me get this slideshow to go. What you need to know in particular in comparison is that both plants and animals have the cell as its basic unit of structure and functions. There's only 3 differences between the two of them. Plant cells don't have centrioles, which are most important during cellular reproduction. Plants have a cell wall, animal cells do not. Both plants and animal cells have mitochondria, but only plant cells have a chloroplast, which are the green structures. Okay. And so that's important for plants. The other thing they haven't mentioned here is both cells have a vacuole. In a plant cell, you see how big this vacuole is? That's how you, aside from the shape, plant cells tend to be rectangular in shape. The plant cell vacuole takes up most of the cell space, and it is very important in maintaining the shape of the cell. Okay, so when this vacuole is full of water, the cell is full and it keeps its shape. When it's less water, the cell shrivels. And so that's going to be our next conversation. Transport, we're going to talk about water going in and out. There's 2 types of transport. Of things going in and out of the cell. But when you look at a plant and the plant starts to wilt and fall over, it's because the cells don't have enough water in them to stand firm. When you water the plant, all of a sudden the water fills up the space and the plant stands back up again. Okay. All right, so going through all of the structures, you need to know that the membrane is not only the boundary for the cell, but it also regulates what's going in and out of the cell. I'm going to go through this real quick so that you can have time to do the quiz. The cystole is also the cytoplasm. So we're going to call it the cytoplasm most of the time because most of the time we're going to be talking about the organelles in the gel-like substance. So we won't use the term cystole, cytosol very often. So we'll always use cytoplasm. But the only difference is the cystole is the gel or the soup by itself, and the cytoplasm is the term that refers to the soup and the organelles that are floating in it. All right, the nucleus is the center of the cell. Its job is to contain the DNA, and the DNA never leaves the nucleus. It does all its commanding from the nucleus. It gives the instructions to the RNA, and the RNA leaves the nucleus and goes where it needs to go in order to carry out the instructions of the nucleus. The nucleolus in particular contains it's like the factory where the ribosomes are made, and then the ribosomes are the structures where the protein synthesis takes place. So you're going to find that all of these structures can be considered like a factory, and each factory has its own specialized job. So the nucleus is the factory for instructions or the head office. Nucleolus makes the ribosomes, which is the factory for proteins. We're going to have And endoplasmic reticulum, there's two types, there's smooth and rough. So basically they're just a system of canals, and notice they kind of extend from the nucleus. But the little dots that you see on the endoplasmic reticulum, always abbreviated ER, are the ribosomes. So those little dots that are on the endoplasmic reticulum are ribosomes, but you can have free floating ones. So you'll see there's a couple of them that are free floating. So we have smooth ER and rough ER. Smooth ER are the ones with the ribosomes on. Rough ER has no ribosomes on it. Okay, the Golgi apparatus, sometimes it's called a Golgi body. It contains enzymes and hormones. So that's the factory job that it does. And so it's going to release those things to the places where they need to be released to. Lysosome is one of the things that's made in the Golgi body. They are the enzymes that are used to break down certain molecules. Okay. It says filled with hydrolytic enzymes. So they break down molecules so that they release water. Okay. It's also, if the cell starts to function, sometimes this is called the suicide sac, because if the cell starts to malfunction, it will release enzymes that will actually digest the cell. And there's some more substances that are released from the Golgi body that have a certain type of enzyme activity. And these release hormones also created in the Golgi apparatus. All right, so again, in animal cells, we have vacuoles, and the vacuoles store materials until they need to go where they need to go, but they also pick up the waste that's around the cell. And it just like did you have a little purple one here on the edge? So the vacuole will move to the edge of the cell and then open it up. It's kind of like it spits it out, but it spits it out by becoming part of the cell membrane. The cell membrane opens up and the contents will be spit out. So that's how, and that's also how it gets larger molecules in. So a vacuole can be moved to the edge of the cell, collect a substance that it wants to have in the cell, and then move back in and carry it where it needs to go. Because not everything nicely flows through the cell membrane. All right, centrosome. Again, these structures, there are some structures, there's no skeleton in a cell, but they do have some microtubules that give it some type of structure. Okay, and we'll talk about centrioles again when we talk about cell division. But basically, you need to know that there's some type of uh, skeletal structure of sorts. Okay, this is the important one. This is the one that's also going to be found in both cells, and this is the energy factory. The mitochondria is responsible for respiration. All respiration occurs here, and this is where the ATP molecules are made. So this one is extremely important and is highly visible in both plants and animal cells. All right. That being said, again, the only thing that you need to know with the plant cell that is different is the function of the chloroplast, and that's where photosynthesis occurs. And the fact that the vacuole in the plant cell is larger for support, and it also stores other materials as well, but it's mostly there to add turgor pressure to the cell. All right. Any questions about cell organelles? Because the quiz is entirely about what do these organelles do. Okay. All right. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to put the code for the quiz in the chat as soon as I get it. Okay, so I put the code in the chat, and I think everybody's here, so I don't have to put it twice. And as soon as everybody's logged in, I will go ahead and start the quiz. So you're going to joinmyquiz.com. The code is 720334. Um, it's 9 people present. So as soon as I get 9 people logged in on the page, I'll start the quiz. And always log in with your correct name because I print these results out. And this is, and so take your time, use your notes to help you. These grades are going in the grade book. I'm just waiting on 2 more people. Mm, Kindling. I know, Jacoby, did you step away for a minute? He was there a minute ago. Okay, I was just about to call you. All right. I think Jacoby might have stepped away, so I'm gonna go ahead and start it. When he comes back, he'll just have to start. All right, y'all do need to stay on camera. I see people popping out. Please stay on camera. All right, Jacoby, go ahead and log in to the quiz. I just started it. All right, if you finish before everyone else, I have opened up the next section, which is cell transport. It's got a lot of vocabulary, so you want to go ahead and look at that. I think I opened it. Nope. I don't usually see the score. I can tell you total points, but it does not give me Zesty. I know you're in second place. Right now, it's 1, 2, 3 is Jacob, Andrea, and Jacoby. But I have a score, but not a percentage score. So I don't know that if that would help. Are you finished? Because I'm looking at your line, it doesn't seem to go all the way to the end. All right. If you are finished, again, go to Canvas and start looking at cell transport. And start, there's a lot of new vocabulary there with that. So read that section over, please. Oh, well, you're having an upset here. The leads are changing. All right, everyone is almost finished. Um, Again, with the time that's left, just make sure that you are looking at the next section on cell transfer. Do read that over. We'll do some more illustrated things with that um, tomorrow. All right, LaCoria, are you with us? Right now I'm looking at your ceiling and you're the only one still testing. And again, folks, you are supposed to stay on screen. You're not supposed to go out off screen. Thank you. All right, so at the moment I can't see actual grades. I can see rankings. And where Jacoby, you were in third place earlier, some folks just snuck up and knocked you out of place, but you probably still have a good score because your score still ranks um, high. And I don't always trust these rankings because sometimes the ranking doesn't necessarily mean a bad score, and sometimes they do. But as soon as this is finished, I'm waiting on one other person to finish. As soon as it finishes, it'll um, time out and give me the scores, and I will post the scores um, in the grade book as soon as it's done. Mhm. Okay, and I'm just briefly sharing that so you see what I see. So I don't actually have a score, but at least you'll know your ranking. And then what I want you to look at is, okay, let me come out of that for a minute because right now I'm in the grade book and I don't want to be in the grade book. Okay, so make sure that you, before you go out, you take a note that this is where we're going to be. We're going to be looking, so we're going to be looking at the difference between active and passive transport. We're going to be looking at the difference between osmosis and diffusion. And we're going to actually look at how the cell carries out these functions. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow. So hopefully you've had a chance to look this page over. And again, what you should also know right now are the answers to, come on, these review questions under here. Okay. So always make sure you know what you need to know. Okay. All right. So if you have no questions for me, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. I'm just waiting.